you just got back from the range with your PSA Dagger full-size saber. Maybe it's the first time you went to the range, maybe it's the 12th time. Either way, it's time to give her a good cleaning, a proper cleaning and maintenance. Now, this is the PSA Dagger full-size saber. Full review on it already. Full-size grip, compact slide, 19X vibes, but with a little more oomph to it. A little more bang for your buck, as it were. And today, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know, everything you need to have to properly clean this, all right? So grab your saber if you want. Let's walk through this together. Should take about 15, 20 minutes. Really depends on how deep of a clean you want to get. Number one, you do need a saber or PSA Dagger, honestly. This is going to work either way with a couple of caveats, and we'll talk about that. Get yourself a saber, get it on the table, get ready to clean. Now, what do you need to clean it with? Well, some type of cleaning lubricant combo, right? So I like CLP, clean, lubricate, protect. All right, this is from Shooter's Choice. I also really enjoy a bottle like this. This has a tip in it in this little bottle here, and you can get this in bulk as well to refill these bottles. This I've been using for years. This is a needle tip bottle. This is going to help with that lubrication at the end to get the spots we need exactly where we need it, because you don't want to overly soak the oil on this. They really don't need a ton of oil to run. And not only that, once you do get it clean, it should just run just on self-lubrication alone with a few drops of this in precise areas. So you'll need some type of lubrication. Also, potentially, depending how long you've waited to clean this particular firearm or any firearm, you might need some foaming bore cleaner or a bore cleaner solvent of some type. This will fill up your bore, your barrel, really kind of clean it up and break up a lot of all that junk you're trying to get out of there. And this actually all came from a kit that I have from Otis that I did a review on already. What's nice about it, you have a kit, all quality USA made stuff now. So if you want, the link will be down below to everything you need to get this job done. You also may need some type of pick. So if it's really kind of has some crevices in there, it's really kind of grody, you may want to get a tipped-in plastic polymer tip right here. This little pick here will help clean out some of those crevices. And then also potentially a brush. All right, so typically use brushes like old toothbrushes, right? Old toothbrushes or cheap pack of 4 toothbrushes for $1, right? Just get a bunch of bulk toothbrushes for scrubbing. Just nylon toothbrushes are the way to go. This one comes from Otis there in that kit. You also will need a brush for 9mm. This is, see, notice 357 as well as 38 special and 380. It's all very similar size. 9mm actually is probably one of the most useful brushes because it fits so many different calibers. So if you get one of these brass brushes here, and they're in this little protective case. I have a few of these. This one's brand new from that kit. They just are very nice, work really, really well in a couple of different ways. I'll show you that. Now, these actually are not useful until you get either a cable pull through like this one, where it simply just screws on to the end of this cable here, which will allow you to pull it through. Cable pull through, get it? Pull it through. There's also rods that you can get to help pull through, and then you also will need a pull through with a loop. Now the loop is going to be for these patches here. So these are rifle patches, these are pistol patches, all right? You might want some rifle or some ripped up t-shirts in the same size, something that's cloth that's not going to fray and leave a lot of junk in here, all right? That's the key. Also, you don't want like some kind of non-man-made type of polyester or something that will maybe not even get into the crevices. Like you don't want a cut up athletic shirt or something like that that won't get in the grooves of the barrel, won't get into where you need to be. It's not going to clean it that well. So you want some kind of cloth material. These are, again, the pistols and the rifle. You can cut these down if you'd like, but pistol works well for almost the entire job we're about to do. Gloves. Gloves are important because something people don't think about is, yes, it's chemicals, and I get it. That's a big danger alone because you're working with chemicals. You don't want that on your hands. But this stuff, any of this CLP stuff, just stinks. And if you get it on your hands for a long period of time, you have that stink on your hands, no matter how much you wash your hands for a day or so. And it's just something where if you can avoid it a little bit with some gloves, I think this is the best bet. But you're more than welcome to just jump in. Been doing it for years. So let's glove up. Let's do this. I get a lot of this stuff right from Otis, or really a lot of it from Amazon. I get a lot of reload stuff from Amazon. So reloading your patches, reloading your CLP, all of that, the toothbrushes, the picks. A lot of this stuff's on Amazon. Makes it easy. So drop your mag. It's the first thing. Finger off the trigger every time you're using a firearm that you're not sure of. You're going to check the chamber. Physically look in there. Look again, at least twice, right? Because now what we're going to do is pull the trigger. Right, I'm going to put your finger up here. If you don't have a red dot, no big deal. You can still get a good grip. Release some of that pressure. Pull both these tabs down, one on each side, and then this is going to simply slide right off the frame. Slide, frame. Frame's good. So you can see how filthy it is in there. We're going to clean that. Slide on this particular one, because it's a tactical model with that threaded barrel, you're going to have to take off this thread protector. It's the only way to do it, and even then it's still pretty tight to do it. I've already taken this part once for the review. Now, spring, guide rod, just like so. Lift it straight up and out. Barrel, straight down like so, and kind of keep it at a pretty low angle. You don't want it too steep. You're going to get caught in there with those threads. You want to slowly bring it out of the slide, and there's your barrel. It's a pretty nice little barrel. Did a good job there. 9 by 19 there. Sabre, there's some nice touches on here. I do like the quality of the Sabre line. So what we're going to start with first, we'll move the frame over here. Let's go, honestly, just go left to right. Now the magazine, you can go and clean once in a while. It doesn't need to be torn down too much unless you like submerge it in some type of mud or something where you may have function problems. But just get a little bit of CLP on a patch, and you can just wipe this down once in a while. I like doing this, especially if it's a mag, something you carry often, because look, all the mags have something on them, and if you have anything on there that's going to be sticky or tactile, then you're going to have a problem with your mags over time, whether it be inserting the mag or dropping the mag. And get this follower, at least the area in the feed lips there, clean that a little bit. Try not to leave any residue from the cloth in there, from the cleaning pad there, and just wipe it down, and that's it. Nothing too crazy for the mags. You can use your fingers, kind of wipe it down a little bit. Mag is done, right? Patch number 1 down. I don't know, probably use like a dozen patches or so for this job. A little more CLP. You can get the thread protector down. That's pretty filthy normally. You use your finger in there, twist around the threads. At this point, you can actually go and take maybe like a pick. You don't really need the pull through yet, but you can clean some of these threads out, because this being on the end, if it does come loose, or if you're taking it off and on after running it suppressed, all those threads do actually get pretty filthy running it suppressed. Cap is done. Running right along here, another patch. A little bit of CLP. This one, I just go and twist to start. Just twist through, wrap it, and hold it. Until you get to the end there, get the ends. And if you have a little bit of life left in your patch, take your nail, start at the end, get your nail in there, and twist with your nail. This is going to clean that ledge in there on the spring. Sometimes they're flat. Other handguns are going to be more rounded, like a traditional spring. But a lot of newer handguns are usually pretty flat. And just twist, twist, twist. You can also get the pick. If that rod is filthy, you get the pick in there as well. See, check that out, the nice line there. Done. Move right along here. Fresh patch. A little bit of CLP. Barrel, we're gonna do exterior first. It's easier, get the easy stuff done. Threads, spin it. This barrel is absolutely filthy. It doesn't look like it because it's black, but it's definitely seen better days. Make another patch here. If you want some of these larger parts, you can go with the larger patches, but it really depends on what you want to do. This is good because look at the shape of that pick here. You can go and just run it right in here and just fold it around. Get right in there. Now that feed ramp is usually pretty filthy there, clean that up. Get your thumb and your nail around the edge there. Any sharp edges or crevices, just kind of go through with your patch. Take one that hasn't been overly used as well and run and twist through it. So now what we do is let's grab a brush, your 9mm brush, get your cable pull through. And what I like about these pull throughs is because it's a handgun, it's not a very long barrel, so you don't need a rugged handle on the end to pull through. You can actually just kind of wrap your hand and pull through. It's not that long of a barrel either. Now we're going to start at the breech and go out the muzzle. Imagine we're cleaning the same way you would with a round going down the barrel, right? So breech to muzzle. So I like to wrap a patch, get this really soaked the first time, nice and twisted on there, get it started, and come over here, loop it, and pull. Whew, that's a tough one, look at that. Getting into those grooves. It's a good technique to use these like that though. And now the cool part, we can go this way again. And one more time. Get it started, twist, and pull. That's a little better. There you go. Now you can take a quick health check in there. Honestly, looking really good. But you can run this through as many times as you want. There's no right or wrong answer. And what I'll do is check with a patch, run it through here with your loop here. I like these because they kind of sit like a T. So now you have it where you can put some on the ends. And you can just simply pull through. You can twist with these. Just kind of give it a health check, see where we're at. It's really not too bad. I would say that I'm pretty happy with that. Here, look inside there a little bit. You can kind of see. What do we see with a white background? There you go. See, that's pretty shiny. Not too bad. All right, so I'm going to say this is done. It's good. Barrel's good. No use in wasting more patches if you don't have to. Now, this part is filthy, right? So what we can do is we can take this patch, actually might be good, just to start, put it on your brush, right? Grab your CLP, oil it up on the brush, because you don't actually need the bristles that much. And then simply go back and forth, fold it over again, go back and forth. Not too much pressure, enough to get in the grooves, but you're not trying to like damage anything or grind away. Key part here is these rail slots right here. You want to go all the way down, and that is done. That patch is expired. A little more CLP. Let's go to the other side. Get into your rail slides there, right in the slide, in the slots, all the way down. Oh, that's where a lot, look at that. That's like the dirtiest of all the firearm is all hiding in there. And that's actually what this little part of the brush is for, which obviously you wouldn't have on a toothbrush, but you can still use the bristles to your advantage. Yeah, absolutely filthy. There you go, that's done. And now what you can do, take another clean patch, and then just go in, take your patch, clean what you can. You can take another brush in there. You can even use a rifle patch at this point. And there's something I wanted to note here while I grab this rifle patch on here. I don't want to see you putting anything down where the firing pin is. The firing pin of this handgun is right there, right? You don't want to pull oil directly in there. A lot of times you kind of want to have it where the tip, where the barrel B is pointing down, right? So it's not really as much of a safety issue right now because there's nothing in here and there's no barrel, but it's more of a don't want to get oil in a slot down there that you don't need oil in. All right. And here, scrub this a little bit, see how that's looking. You can push a couple of these parts in, this plunger here, just to get a better surface clean. You can actually take off this back plate, kind of like a Glock, and pull out the firing pin if you prefer. Depends on how dirty this is, but I'm not going to do that today. Firing pins typically don't need to be cleaned that often, but it is something that potentially could need to be cleaned at some point. Now, there's also another spot here that I think a lot of people miss, the extractor. So every firearm has an extractor that needs to be cleaned regularly. Now, I'd like to take my little pick here. I'll demonstrate what this looks like. The extractor is right there on the side. All right, now the pick, we can go and find the extractor, get that pick in there and go right behind it, because right behind it, the dot right there is exactly the filthiest spot. And you just, sometimes it gets pretty dirty behind that extractor and you just never know. There's another spot for you. If it's too dirty behind that, you're going to have issues potentially with extraction. Failure to eject. Potentially, right? It's not something that needs to be cleaned thoroughly, but get the face there. You can use the flat part of the pick. Just get some of the crevices in there. Looking really good. Nice and clean. It's wearing it nicely onto the frame. Now, you can take maybe another rifle patch to start, some more CLP. Now, this has a lot more going to it up top here, where you want to kind of be careful. There are a lot more parts of the lower right here that you don't want to mess with in the frame. A lot of the trigger grouping is right here. Trigger is right in here, so you want to kind of just be careful. Don't be just going in here and scrubbing and jiggling things up, because you're going to have a problem either from a function standpoint or even just putting this thing back together is going to prove to be an issue. But see, all this gets nice and filthy still. You can take your picks now, and there's a couple parts of the rail on this side, and you can just go in here, see if there's any clean spots of your patch. Might have to get another one in a sec. Just clean what you can, all the slots. Get a fresh patch, some more CLP. Look inside near the trigger and just kind of get a spot check. A little bit of cleaning in there, nothing too crazy. Usually it's not too dirty down there, but it's enough to be where like, all right, I'll just hit a patch in there, not too rough. Just hit maybe under some ledges, hit that rail again. Go in here where the striker mechanism is. Clean that. And if you want, there's a little extra oil left, you can go in here and clean out the mag well, which is typically pretty filthy, especially if you can reach up towards the mag release, which is right here. That'll help you a little bit just to make sure there's nothing stuck down there. Use your finger to kind of go back and forth. You can put a little bit of oil on here if you want, or you can put, fresh patch down there. Just go through, make sure everything's clean. You can even go through here, clean your light a little bit. A lot of times these lights need, like, for toothpaste, it works pretty good. This one's filthy, this X300 Ultra. Used it quite a bit. In fact, what I'll do now is, I know it's all polymer down here, but clean the light. Just go over the trigger a little bit, around the trigger, and clean the grips off just a little bit. And some of this oil, just leaving a little bit on here when we're done, is going to help just protect the firearm a little bit. Now this is coated, so not that big of a deal, but I'm going to go back through the lens cleaner for this. There you go. So still some in there. So that's it for that. Now, of course, you need to lubricate this thing back up. We got some oil on here. A lot of this thing is going to dry off if you want. After we're lubricating, you take a patch here, we'll run through the outside. You don't need to really dry it up too much. It's going to evaporate over time, but you can wipe it all down just a little bit. So starting with the lower here to get your dropper bottle here. First off, we're looking for these rails. All right, so just drop there, on the inside of the rail, on the top of the rail, just a little bit, right? That's gonna help this quite a bit right here. Good idea is to hit anything with a little bit of wear. If you see a little bit of wear, put a drop on there, just a little bit, right? This right here, putting this back together before we put the barrel back in. Take a look at this barrel. A little bit of wear right here, right there, to help lubricate it a little bit. Put some on the back here, right there. Slide it in, nice and gentle. There you go. Take your recoil guide rod and spring assembly, hook it on right there. Nice and flat and straight. All the way down, straight, right? That's how you want it, nice and tucked in. Little bit of oil right here, a little bit right there. And you already lubricated the rails there, so you don't really have to go in there. But maybe just on some of the wear parts, especially in the front here, you might not get anything. The back there. Don't really have to do anything with this cap, but you can if you want. Those threads are nice and clean, so secure that down. And then simply get everything lined up all the way back. And you check if it has something to do with anything maybe bumping around, kind of give it a little shimmy. You kind of see how it's stuck on something right there. Back it a little bit. Trigger test, function. Now, if you have a little excess oil on there, just from the overall process, you can go through, wipe it down, especially the exterior. The oil you want is now penetrating inside everything you needed to get oiled. After you've racked it, you can clean your red dot if you want, get some lens cleaner on there, clean your flashlight, and that's it. That is how you properly clean and maintain a PSA Dagger full-size saber. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you have any questions at all, or any tips or tricks or anything at all, hit them down in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. Make sure you train hard. Get some dry firing in. It really does help. Just get that muscle memory going. Take care of the ones you love. Those are the ones that matter. And we'll see you in the next review.